I've been in the auction business 40 years plus, and I started just when I was a kid. I went down to the Western College of Auctioneering in Billings, Montana, and it's one of the most famous auction schools in the world and has been, and they're very, very good. Then when I come back to Calgary, I went to work with McLaren Auctions. Then I started Regal Auctions, and they've been my competition. I sold them in '89. When we started this company, Dave Lyons come to me, and we were very, very dear friends, and he said, "Blair, let's start up another auction." So I had cleared all my, I had agreed to stay out of business for 3 years after I sold Regal, and it was 5 then that I worked for them. So we started another auction, and boom, it just took right off. We were so fortunate. And it's grown into what it is today. Now we have 31 acres, and it's covered from one end to the other, and we continually empty it weekly.
That's right. I'll just keep bidding. I'll get you. That about 101. 200 2 1.5 if you like 150.
Between the 3 auction rings that we always run, and sometimes 4, and the items per lot, lots of times they'll probably average, sometimes there'll be 20 items in a lot, sometimes it'll be 2, sometimes 1, but they'll probably average about 4 items a lot, and we'll have 1,500 lots. So 1,500 times 4, 3, that's 6,000 lots on a Saturday morning, and I don't know anybody in the industry from here to Texas that does that. I've seen wristwatches in that showcase that are $5,000 wristwatches, and they're here for sale no matter what. But usually the educated buyers watch it pretty close, and I would say a $5,000 watch we might get 1,500, 2,000 for. But they're all brand new, and that's a heck of a long ways from 5,000, so that's a good buy.
Oh, that's nice. 50, 25. Go like your kitty.
An auction is like free-spirited marketing. It's the end-all to someone that's retiring, where they can disperse everything they can at once and get their nest egg to carry on with. It may be a solution in a divorce case. It may be a fundraiser for a charity. An auction is many, many, many things, and it's very hard to limit to one thing or another. But and for my case, it's always been the best part of life. We have 8 auctioneers on staff, and we do not know from minute to minute what's coming in, never mind from hour to hour. One end of the building we do the dry goods area, and then in another portion they do the furniture, and another portion we do electronics, and we'll bang, 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 sell that product by 12:30, and then flip into cars and trucks which we usually put through about 300. And then every 6 weeks, we're sitting in the yard here now. This is the heavy equipment yard. There's about 5 acres behind us. There's usually 200 plus pieces of heavy equipment in there.
32.5 here, 32.5, 32.5, 32.5, now 35.
There's tons and tons of product. We do RTV product, and that comes from major stores. It's brand new. It's store return product. It's end of the line. They'll come along in the store and they'll say, "I need that shelf for a new product, send all that stuff to the auction." It's that type of product.
For families, it's a great place to come because you can save a lot of money, for the items you use.
It's all for sale, all that product, no matter what. There's no reserves on it. It's got to go because we get somewhere between 10 and 13, 14 loads a week, 5-ton truckloads and a couple of 53-foot trailers that we got to get through.
So there's a lot of product to get through every Saturday. We start at 9 a.m. every Saturday and typically wrap up about 3:30. And sure enough, every Saturday the buildings fill up and the crowd is there, and we're really fortunate to have a crowd that follows us and supports us. And we've sold everything from a Ferrari to a Seiko watch, and big drill presses and laser guided milling machines, it's a little bit of everything.
$15, 10 room, 15, 15, 15. So $10.
Our auction is a little bit unique in the city here. We sell the couches and cameras and watches, and we sell the vehicles, we sell heavy equipment, we sell lumber and home improvement. So we're a more diverse auction than some auctions specialize just in cars, just in heavy equipment. We do a little bit of everything.
Oh, that's nice. 50, 25. Alexa case, 25, 30. Hit 25 and get 30.
We like to follow the golden rule. Treat people how you want to be treated. Give people a good deal. Work hard.
Honesty, integrity, and being good with people. Make sure people leave happy. That's our main goal here.
You know what? It's have fun every day. One of the reasons I love working here is it's a family atmosphere. At the end of the day, you're here to have fun. The rest of it just comes along naturally.
600. Sold truck, $6,500 buyer number 992.
I think the auctioneers get addicted to this the very same as the public gets addicted to auctions. And it's a fascinating business, absolutely fascinating.
It's selling right now, 7,200.
The people know, the product is there, the auctioneers are there, and we hit a height and then just bend down and give you your best lick and try to get those people the most that you can get for their product. And that's basically what the auction is about, and having a lot of fun while you're doing it.
Young man, he beats him to 15, no 20, no 20, no 20. 15, 20, 17 and a half.
And you always have to be in control. And also in control of the customers. If somebody starts ranting and raving about something, you got to take control of that in a hurry. You don't want it to affect a whole bunch of other people. And so that's your job as an auctioneer, just keep control.
All over the place. 20, 75, 20, 20. Hit 75 a little bit, 20, 20, 20.
Suppose I'm selling this here rock machine. You know, I'd start it high and ask 50,000. Somebody get 50,000, 40, 30, 20. That 20 bid. Thank you. Now 5 bid. 25 at a bid. 30. Now 30. Now 5 at a bid. 40, 40, 40. Now 5 at a bid. 50,000. 50,000. Is that 5? Thank you. Now 60. 50. 5 at a get 60. Now 5 and now 5 at a word. 65. Sold. $60,000. Sold. 60,000. You bought it, sir.
300, 200. Who's got a couple hundred for it, guys? Hit $200 bid. 252. That's enough to do a hospital. Somebody give 100 for it. Now 1.5.
I guess every auctioneer has his own little tweaks and little filler words that you'll use to keep things rolling smoothly.
Well, I try not to use too many fillers, something to even out what you're saying. I try to describe to people who's on. If I say I got 35 over there and 36 here, 37 over there, 38, I try not. Too many fillers confuse people. And 10% of fillers is nothing. 10% of dollars is 10%. So say the numbers, that's important.
More pound beat, 75. If I did a little bit of 75, a little bit of 6,000.
Fills, yeah. You know, a fill is an auctioneer's worst enemy. You shouldn't use too many. The more numbers you can get into your chant, the better. But every auctioneer picks up a few, and I've caught one. Bidding now is right into my chant, and it gets snuck in there a little more often than it should. But yeah, it's there, and I'll probably never be able to shake it now. If I'm doing an auction, it's like 5, bid now 7.5, 7.5 now 10, 10, 12.5, and you just get a little faster, and the bid now becomes more of a bid now. And it's 5, 7.5, a little bit of 10, a little bit of 12, a little bit of 15, a little bit of 7, a little bit of 20, 20, a little bit of 5, a little bit of 25, 30.
15, 10, 12, 15, no 15, no 15, 15.
But clarity is most important. Speed comes, but it's not that necessary. You got to make sure you're clear. So you have 50, 50, 50, 50, 75, 75 about 100, 175 at 1. You can say it nice and clear without being going a million miles an hour.
7.5, 5, 7.50. Nobody likes shag anymore. 7.5 at 10. I got 7.5 there. Now 10. That's 7.5 at 10. 7.5 at 10. Fair warning.
The speed of an auction is important because you have to keep things moving. As an auctioneer, you get into a rhythm, and you don't want to break that rhythm. You want to keep it smooth, you want to keep it fast, and the word auction means to advance. So that's what you're trying to do.
$20 to go. That's 20 to be a 2. That's 20 to be a 2. That's 20 to be a 2.
And so those numbers go through your mind a lot. You'll be in a store looking at items, and these numbers will be running through your head. You know, 2.5, 75, $3, quarter, half here, 75, and you're trying new things. And then you realize, my wife says to me sometimes, what are you talking to yourself? And you realize that here you've been doing it sitting in the tub or whatever. So it does get to be a mental thing that it's hard to turn off.
20 to 25, and get 20 to 5 and 25 would have been sold at $20.
It's addictive to us too because it's fun to make deals. And you can go over it and over it and over it, but it doesn't wear out.
5 bid, 7.50. 5 bid about 7.5, 7.5, $5.
Right here.
We auctioned a house for a family, an estate deal where we auctioned the house off unreserved to the highest bidder, first the contents that were left and then the house. And that's a separate type. Those are on-site sales. This young lady was called back to Calgary. Her mom called her because she was having trouble with her dad. He had Alzheimer's so bad. So she called her back to Calgary, and after the young lady got back to Calgary, she passed away. Well, she was in the process of looking after her mom and dad. So prior to passing, she asked her friend if she would take custody of her mom and dad and set it up so she could do so. So she did that.
5 bid about $10, 10, it's gonna be right. They sure cost more than that in the store, $10. Hit about 10, 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 10, 10, through and down, gotta be 10, 10, 10, hit about 10, 10, 5, thank you, no 10, no 10, no 10, 5, 10, 10, is 15, 15, now 20, 15, about 20, now 20, gonna be $100 on the tool chest, all the tools and everything is in at 100. 50 if you like, 50. Holy snaps, boy. Yeah! 50, 25 is 50, 50, 50, 20, $60, 50 about 60, 60, so $50, so 50 number is...
Same way, 12.21. 75 and 1, 75 and 1, 75 and 1, 75 and 1. Fair warning, 75 and 1. 80. Now 90, 80, now 90, now 100. 90, now 100, 90 in the back, now 1, 90, now 1. You started the war, 90, now 1, little bit of 1, 1, 90, little bit of 1, 90, little bit of 1. So, now 7.5 at 10, 7.5 at 10, 7.5 at 10, 12.5, 10, 12.5, 12.5 at 15, 15, 15, 17 and a half, 15, 17 and a half at 20, 20 now, 22 and a half, 22 and a half, 22 and a half, fair warning, $20 bid now, 22, 50. Sold it, right here, $20. 12, 13.
This lady phoned our auction company and wanted us to auction off the miscellaneous items at this property. Lined up a sale in the garage. It had a 24 by 24 garage, and then we come right down to the sale day, and by golly did we have people for a little yard sale in a house. By the time we got doing the house sale, they absolutely covered the lawns right around the house. It was got to stand on the front step and sell it out, and that money is going into trust to look after the mom and dad, and it was absolute unreserved for sale. So it ended up a very good way to do it.
We have to go now. $285,000. If you're through, Larry must be. 285, 285, say yes, Larry, 285, keep it about 285, 285. Last call. Ladies, you come all the way, 285,000. Sold 280,000, and thank you so much.
All the funds in it are put in trust to look after mom and dad. So that's how that scenario got started and finished, and we ended up with the high end where we thought on the property. Cars are very important to Graham Auctions. I would say they're a big part of the meat and potatoes of the whole industry. The used car market is our main business weekly. A typical auction will run close to from 250 to 300 cars a sale. We do 2 rings while the unreserved portion is going on in the same lane. They'll drive 2 cars in, boom, boom, front to back of each other, and we'll sell those 2 and bring in another 2, sell those 2.
On average, the cars, we do a car every 2-3 minutes. So the negotiation is fast, as opposed to if you went into a car dealership, you could sit there an hour and a half and negotiate a deal. But a lot of times the customers will do their market research before they come to the auction. They'll know what they want to spend on a vehicle or any other item, and it takes 2-3 minutes to get each lot done. But it is no different than you and I sitting here talking. The auctioneers are just talking the numbers.
55, 55, 55, 55, guys. It's a nicer truck than that. 5,500, 5,500. Sold truck, $5,400. Buyer number 709.
We will do from $200, $250 beater up to $30,000 and $40,000 automobiles that are stunning. We've had Lamborghinis, Ferraris. That's the range from old beaters right up to very expensive automobiles and nice ones. And also the public with boats, campers, fifth wheel trailers, tow behind trailers. The secret to getting the best deal you can on an automobile at an auction is to come down and do your homework. Now, by that I mean you're welcome through the week to come down, you give your driver's license, you get the keys, you can go out, you can drive it around the yard and make sure that the gears all work and blah, 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 and you're satisfied with the condition of the vehicle, or you bid according to what you think it is.
2002, 2021, we did 2100, sold, $2,200, and well done, sold.
Yeah, I don't know what the best deal is I've ever seen, but I've seen millions of them.
We sold a 2006 Aston Martin convertible, the James Bond car, and that sold for $106,000. And the guy turned around and sold that and made $30,000 within a couple weeks.
There was a 2007 Nissan Armada. The truck should have been bringing $17,000 in there, and it ended up going to a new home for $10,000. A beautiful truck, just great kilometers on it. Everything was right on it.
Now 4, 35, thank you. Now 4, 35, 4 bid 45, 4 bid about 45, 45, 45, 4,500. You're not in. 45, no 5, 5, 5, 5, 45, 5, 5, 55, 55, 5 bid about 55, 55, 55, 6,000. 6,000, 55, now 6. It takes 7.5. You can try to come up. Thank you, now 6. We're slow again. 6,000, 57.5 bid, now 6. 57.5 bid about 6, 6, 6, 57.5, 6,000. Leather, heated seats in the hall work 6,000. 57 away you go, now 6,000, 62.50. 60 about 2.5, 62.50. Let them out, boys, ease them out, 62.50.
So the auto industry is a big, big, big part of Graham Auctions. The secrets for being a great bidder: know the value of your product, and you spend what you want to spend. If you don't have to bid. You don't have to pay what the store has on the price list. You pay whatever you want. So that's the biggest psychology. Sometimes you might go a little more than you want to go, but normally it's nowhere near what the other end is anyway. As a first-time bidder at the auction, you go in and you get a bid card, and the ladies at the front counter will ask you, and if you've been at the auction before, and if you haven't, they'll go through the terms and conditions of the auction and explain what we're doing in the barn, and they'll explain it thoroughly.
Enjoy the auction today. Thank you very much. You're so welcome.
If you've never been to an auction before, you're welcome to come and watch, listen. I don't know if I do a lot of buying the first time you go to one until you understand kind of the system and how they operate.
I would tell you to come here and have a look the first day. Don't bid on anything. Just have a look and see how things work.
Listen carefully and watch. First of all, before going in, if you have any questions, ask any of the ringmen.
Be patient. You see a lot of people when they come to an auction, and it's their first or second auction, they get really anxious and they're eager to bid and they get wrapped up in it and maybe pay a little too much. If you take your time and you're comfortable with what you're spending, you're always going to get a good deal. Market value is something is only worth what somebody's willing to pay, and an auction determines that. If you're not willing to pay, don't bid, and if you're willing to pay a bid, and you'll be satisfied with a good buy, and take your time and relax and have fun with it.
Now 70 now. $70, $80, this $20, $80, $80, $80, and $80, where's $80? No, 80, thank you, 90, 80 and 90, young lady, 90, 80 and $90, $90, 90, go ahead and go right, 90, 80 and 90, 90, sir, 100, thank you, now 10, 110, young lady, nobody would be like that, 110, $100, 110 sold, 100.
My secret is, if I see something, I go and check out the prices in the store. And then I don't like to pay more than 50% of what the stores sell them for.
Know your product. You know, that's really how people have buyer's remorse, is when they don't do the research and they just come bid and get caught up, because they do move at a good pace. And it's easy to get wrapped up in the bid, or you know, if you're competitive in nature and somebody's bidding against you, you don't want them to have it. So, you know, the tips for buying and getting a good deal: know your product and have a line where this is what I want to spend for it, and be willing to walk away, because it's easy to get caught up in the bidding.
Do your due diligence, do your homework. Go and look at stores, find out what a price would be, and put a price in your mind, and that's where you go.
Well, if you know, like if it's a box of chocolate, it doesn't really matter. But if somebody is looking at quite expensive items, I would suggest, you know, to find out the retail price before they get cut.
350 bid, 4 number 450, 4 bid, 450, 4 bid, 450, give me 4 and a quarter, man. 4 bid, 4 and a quarter. Yeah! 4 and a quarter, 450, and 4 and a quarter, 4 and a half, 450, 4 and a quarter, 4 and a half. Tell me yes. 4 bid, 4 and a quarter, 4 and a half. 450, 450, 475, 475, 450, 475, 450, 475, and 450, 475, 450, 475, 450, 475. So 450.
What I like to see is a smile. That means they're enjoying themselves and having more fun. And they'll probably spend more money if they're smiling.
You'll see there's an inherent love for auctioning, and auction customers have the very same type of love. Ringman. The ring folks here that work with us are the auctioneers that are in between shifts of auctioning, and they'll be down on the floor wicking ring and helping people get their bids across to the auctioneer. And all a ring person is an extension of the auctioneer. So when a person wants to make a bid, if there's any doubt, he gets it, and then he has to portray it back, yo, to the auctioneer to make sure that, and face him when he's saying it so the auctioneer hears it.
A ringman is sort of the go-between between the auctioneer and the bidder. The ringman is vital in the auction business to make sure that the crowd that's in attendance and bidding knows where the bidding's at, know what product, what lot number they're on, and express where the bids are to the auctioneer. So a lot of times when the bidding is going, it's going at a fast pace, and some of the bidders get confused to where the bid's at. So the ringman is really the go-between between the bidder and the auctioneer, so everybody's clear where the bid's at, and you know, make sure that if they want to buy it, they have that ability to.
In our case, most of them are auctioneers. Ben Lund, my yard guy, he's not an auctioneer, but he does it for us all the time because he's been here a lifetime. And but they have to know the auction industry pretty well, and they have to know how to make people like them, and coax bids out of them as gently as they can. Make sure that, because if you don't, they'll say, "Why didn't you ask me?" So you got to ask them. Say, he's asking $500. Would you like to bid $500? Just ask him.
Having a 140, 50. Having a 140, 50, 60. 160. Having a 150, 160, 160. Pay attention. 160, 70.
The job of a ringman is to watch for bids, yell out loud when you see a bid, make sure that the auctioneer knows you've got somebody on, and it's being alert and knowing where the people is, where the bid is.
The ringman is also watching for those that the auctioneer may miss, because there are people sometimes that will wink at you or wink at a ringman, and as an auctioneer you have the whole audience to watch. A ringman will have a specific area, and so we try not to miss anyone, and of course their job is also to create some excitement.
And when they see those ring persons working in there, don't be scared to go up and ask them, tell them, well, I need a little help here, because that's what they're there for. Talk about mishaps at an auction. I remember one time years ago doing an auction that brought a snowmobile in the back of an automobile, and they were trying to start this thing in the back of the truck. And so I said to the fellows, "You guys be careful in case that throttle sticks or anything." "Oh no, it's not going to stick. Don't worry about it." And bang! It launched off the back of that truck, and it stuck right in the front of a Toyota. It was sticking in it. Oh my good Lord.
Yeah, I've seen people pay like $30 for toilet paper that sells for $19. So I think that's kind of funny. Yeah, we just look at them and say, oh boy, you're going to be sorry when you check the price.
As far as crazy things, you see a lot of that, but what's really comical is when you get your husband and wife team, and she's on one side of the room and he's on the other side, and they're bidding against each other, and you know it.
I had a husband and wife bidding against each other. One was on one side of the room, one was standing by a pillar, and we were way up in a price. It was on a solid wood cabinet, and I stopped dead when I realized what was going on. And I said, whoa, hold it. I said, Marie, do you realize that you're bidding against your husband, Andy? And she looked right at me. She said, he has his money, I have mine. Okay.
30, 30, 30, now 5. Hit 30 to 35. Hit 35. Jerry, give me 2.5. 32.5.
And I think the funniest thing was one time I was selling shelving, all the particular parts, shelves and brackets, and then in one box was all the nuts and bolts to put it together with. You had to have it. And when I sold them at $50 a box, I said, sir, you want them all, right? And he said, oh, no, 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 I only want the shelves and I don't want that box of bolts. And so one of the customers turned to me and he shook his head and he said, I'll give you $100 for that box. And then so the man that was bidding on him, he needed them. So he says, okay, I'll give you 60. And the owner, the other bidder says, I'll give you $200 for it. And the guy says, oh, I'll give you $2.5 then. And finally the man says, I'll give you $300 for that box. And the guy said, oh, $305. And finally the second bidder said, oh, that's enough. I think he's learned his lesson. Let him have them for $300 for their $305 for the box he could have had for $50 to start with. But he thought he was going to save some money. And the experienced people in the audience understood, and they made him pay for it.
Thank you. No 10, no 10, no 10.
One time I went along the auction stand, I was auctioning it. 25 up a 30, now 5 up a 35 up a 35 up a 40, now 40, now 40, now 40. I fell asleep auctioneering. And I didn't even quit talking.
The auction business, it's very fast-paced, and every employee has to be right on their toes, right from the auctioneer to the ringman, especially the drivers. You know, they're driving around heavy vehicles, but they're on a time limit too. They've got to get the car into the ring and get it out in a schedule. And sometimes I can think of an instance where the driver didn't quite get it all the way up into park one day, and he hopped out of the car and it hit reverse and started rolling back out the ring, and he chased it down and caught it before it hit anything. But you know, it's a scary business some days.
Years ago, I saw a great big backhoe, and the gentleman was going to demonstrate it. And so as he was digging a little in the yard, somebody asked if the swing part of it works right, and he didn't think. He swung it sideways and bashed the window out of a big rock truck like this, and of course it created a lot of excitement and a lot of embarrassment.
Another time years ago, I was rattling away and up on an auction stand, really giving her boom, and I almost spit my teeth out. I just caught him right on the edge. I thought, wow, that would have been interesting. But you never know what's going to happen,
Not so much when I'm in the main ring. I'm a little bit more well-behaved, but sometimes when we get into the back ring, when we know there's no owners or anybody looking, we'll try and get away with as much as we can on the microphone. So we've paired some items together. Like one day we had lotion and rubber gloves, and we made sure to pair those together to get the crowd laughing. And you know, it's part of just making sure that we're entertaining and having fun. We've probably overstepped our bounds more than a couple times, but at the end of the day, the crowd was laughing and they knew why we were doing it, and just have fun.
My wife might watch this.
A fella started up a crawler, and he looked it in, the clutch is stuck, and it started crawling right up over top of another truck. They had a hell of a time with it. So auctions have their mishaps, I guess you could say.